It all began in the late summer of 2011 when I was 26 years old and had just moved into a small rental house on the edge of a quiet town in Ohio. My name is Emily Carter, and I had left behind the busy city life because I wanted to breathe, to have silence, and to try writing again. The little white house was older than I was, with peeling paint, creaky steps, and a front porch that seemed to sigh under its own weight. I thought it had character. I thought I could handle it. The very first night, though, I realized silence in a small town wasn't what I expected. It wasn't peaceful. It was loud in its own way. The cicadas screamed in the trees, the old pipes groaned, and the wooden walls seemed to shift and settle like something was walking inside them. I laughed it off, telling myself I'd just been spoiled by the steady hum of the city. But when I turned off the lights and lay in bed, I swore I heard something faint. A whisper. Not a word I could understand, just sound. The next morning I shook it off. I told myself it was a dream. I unpacked my books, made coffee, and tried to start my novel. The days passed slowly. Every evening, I'd sit on the porch with a notebook, watching the streetlights flicker on. That was when I began to notice a strange thing. Sometimes, across the street in the abandoned house, an old Victorian with boarded windows, I'd see a movement, like someone shifting in the dark behind the glass. But when I stared harder, the shadows stilled. By the third week, the strange sounds at night had become routine. I'd hear faint knocking, almost rhythmic. Sometimes the floorboards creaked, as if someone had stepped inside the hallway. And then, the whispering. Always at night. Always when I was just about to drift off. I would hear it closest by my door. A soft voice, hushed and hoarse, saying the same thing over and over. Come here. I'll let you look. Come closer. My blood would run cold every time. I'd hide under the blankets like a child, heart pounding, telling myself I was imagining it. Maybe it was the neighbors. Maybe the wind. But deep down, I knew it was coming from inside the house. One night, I couldn't take it anymore. I grabbed my phone, opened the flashlight, and pushed the door wide open. The hallway was empty. Still, the air felt heavy, like it was holding its breath. That was when I noticed something I hadn't before, the small attic door in the ceiling, right above the hallway. The whispering always came from this spot. I told myself not to panic. I wasn't going to open it. I wasn't even going to think about it. But then, the next evening, I was sitting at my desk trying to write, when I heard it again. Louder this time. Come here. I'll let you look. Come closer. The words were clear, deliberate. My fingers froze on the keyboard. I called my friend Daniel, who lived a few streets away. He was the kind of guy who loved ghost stories, always teasing me about being too serious. When I told him what I heard, he laughed at first. But when I begged him to come over, he agreed. Daniel showed up with a flashlight and that smirk of his, ready to prove me wrong. We sat in silence in the living room for nearly an hour. Nothing happened. He started to tease me about wasting his time when suddenly the voice came. Low, raspy, curling through the hallway like smoke. Come here. I'll let you look. Come closer. Daniel's smirk vanished. He turned his head sharply toward the hall. You heard that, right? He whispered. I nodded, clutching his arm. For the first time, I saw fear flicker in his eyes. He stood, walked slowly to the hallway, and shined his flashlight upward. The beam hit the attic door. A draft of cold air swept down as though something above had just breathed out. Daniel took a step back. Nope, he muttered. I'm not opening that. We spent the rest of the night in the living room with every light on, pretending to watch TV. Neither of us admitted how shaken we were. He left before dawn, promising to check on me the next day. But the whispering grew worse. It began happening during the day, faint but constant. I'd be washing dishes, and behind me I'd hear it. Come closer. Sometimes it would come from the corner of the room, sometimes from the closet, and always at night from the attic. One afternoon, desperate, I drove to the town library and started digging through old newspapers. The rental house, the one I was in, didn't have much recorded history. But the house across the street, the abandoned Victorian, did. It had belonged to the Wilkins family, who vanished without explanation in the 1960s. Neighbors said they were last seen on the porch one summer evening. By morning, they were gone. Plates of food were still on the table, lights left burning. Nobody ever moved in after that. The house rotted in silence. My stomach turned as I read one particular line from a neighbor's interview back then. He said he often heard voices at night, soft and calling. Come here. Come closer. Just look. I slammed the book shut. My hands shook so badly I could hardly return it to the shelf. It wasn't just me. The voice, the whisper, it had been here for decades. When I got home that evening, the sun was setting. The sky was bruised purple, the air heavy with summer heat. I stood on my porch, staring at the Victorian across the street. For just a second, I thought I saw someone there. A pale face in the upstairs window, watching. I blinked, and it was gone. That night was the worst yet. I woke to the sound of the attic door creaking open. Not all the way, just enough that the air turned icy in my hallway. Then came the voice, clearer, sharper, as if whoever it was had finally stepped closer. Emily, come here. I'll let you look. Come closer. My name. It said my name. I don't remember leaping out of bed, but I remember the cold floor under my feet as I ran, grabbing my keys and phone. I bolted outside into the night air. I didn't stop running until I reached Daniel's house. He opened the door to find me trembling, pale, unable to speak at first. When I finally told him what had happened, he didn't laugh. He just grabbed a jacket and said, "We're leaving. Tonight." I stayed at Daniel's for a week before I went back, only once during the day, to collect my things. The attic door was closed again, but I couldn't shake the feeling something was listening, watching, waiting. I moved out that month. Someone else probably lives there now, someone who maybe hears the same whispers. I don't tell this story to scare people for fun. I tell it because sometimes you think you want quiet, you think you want solitude, but you don't realize what's waiting in the silence. And sometimes, when a voice calls you closer, you should never, ever listen.